Welcome everyone to Ryan and Brian Talk Sports on this somber day. As always, we're sponsored by Pickett Sports and newly sponsored by Sleeper. Which
Woo!
I know Ryan has to play Sleeper picks. It's the same. It's all the same. But I know Ryan has a play for us later, but we'll get to that later. Ryan, how are you feeling?
Mhm.
I mean, are you depressed? Do you even feel anything anymore? Do you feel?
No, I don't feel. No. I honestly, so I was after the game six collapse, misery, really, really angry. At that point, I kind of already put two and two together. And prepare. I had 2 days to prepare myself for pain. And pain it was. So, I don't know. I actually wasn't really that bothered by game seven. Just my expectations were so low. And yeah, as they should have been, and just not surprised at all. Not surprised at all with this team.
That is fair.
What
It's
other way were they going to go out other than that? I mean,
In the
just
chat, we have Insomnia Ricky saying, "What is paint?" And I agree. I stabbed myself with a few thumbtacks today just to feel something. Didn't feel shit. Man, I'm looking at myself on the feed. This is so annoying. But last week I was mentioning how I was getting my windows done. I got new windows in my place, but I haven't put my blinds back up, so they're just flushing me out right now. I didn't think about it, but it's so sunny out that I look like a ghost, and I'm gonna really regret that. But yeah, it's all right. I don't want to get too sad or too into the Sixers season, but man, what a disappointment all the way through. I mean, from one to what 11 plus coach, I just don't think there's anybody except for Tyrese Maxey that I can really say they gave it their all or like they looked great or this or that. Like at least it was Doc is gone right. That's what Tony Snap said. Honestly, he's not going within 24 hours, which is nerve wracking to me. I think he
yeah.
might stay. I don't know if I want him to stay, but Monty Williams, the most winning coach in the NBA the last 3 years, was gone within 24 hours. It's been 24 hours, and Doc Rivers is still hanging around. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens there.
It feels like the right move, but the last thing I will do is trust the Sixers to make that right move. So again, I won't be surprised by more disappointment at this point. I'm just ready for it. So just sign him to a 10-year extension. Let's just get this shit over with.
Yeah, I will say
Enjoy
this:
a couple more years of pain.
Harden let me down, Embiid let me down. Tobias Harris makes $38 million. Didn't really make it an imprint.
Their best player yesterday, it felt at
Yeah,
least.
yesterday, but like still, it was
Game
just one of
six,
those things.
so bad.
I think the stat was James Harden had 22 points, but 20 turnovers in the last two games, or whatever that was. It was just, I mean, as much as you want to try to slander, defend, whatever it is with Joel Embiid, it just was not good yesterday. And the entire team, my thing is that I don't like the key on certain players in a game that's 1-5 where everybody played horribly. Like that's my thing is no one really looked up to the challenge. PJ Tucker hit some clutch shots early on, but defensively it was kind of just slack on the rotation. It's just overall the Sixers looked like they do every year, where they
Yep.
just have been playing great all year long, and then they failed. Like they failed. That's what it is. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's one of those things where the only thing I don't like is I don't like fake narratives. And I just hate the idea that, I've seen some people talking about, oh, Embiid never blames himself, which he does, but it's there's a lot. I don't think it's worth getting in too much into, but man, that was deflating loss if you were trying to back the process for the last 20 million years. But yeah, that was something else.
We just got a prime sub, which we appreciate very, very dearly. Thank you very much.
Apparently, people misery loves company, and I think that's a big thing. But yeah, I think the the Celtics, you know, they're plus 100 to win it all. You can't back them there, but they are a fantastic
Great.
team. Someone did say Embiid's not the real MVP. I also necessarily don't
Yeah, MVP.
like to get into that. My only thing is that the last 2 years, some people make arguments about Jokic not being the MVP because he got bounced first round or bounced this. I think it's so weird that people bring in MVP and playoff stuff. I don't like if you're gonna have regular season awards. I don't know why you bring in playoffs after the fact. It's just one of
Yeah.
those things where that's like saying Jaren Jackson kind of got embarrassed a little bit in the playoffs, but no one's taking away Defensive Player of the Year or vice versa. People just like to have the narratives. Same thing with the guy like Devin Booker. Everyone loves Devin Booker. Devin Booker in elimination games in the last 3 years has shot to like 29.5%. He's averaged 11 points in elimination game in his career, but it really depends on what narrative you want to make up for a player, and that people are just going to back that either way. So, uh, I'm kind of over it. I mean, Sixers didn't show up yesterday, and that's where it is. But I think
Yeah.
I think it's really strange to bring in MVP or defensive like any regular season award. I mean, they're regular season for a reason. Not saying that Embiid played well, but you can't go back and take back an award or take back what he did.
Yeah, I mean, the MVP is not a postseason award by any means, so I don't see how yesterday changes the fact that he won. But yeah, I mean, we got baseball tonight. That shit sucked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
I
just
mean,
moving on.
I figured no, I figured we'd allow like 5 to 6 minutes for that,
What did
but
he do during the season to be awarded MVP? I mean, why should I even have to answer that?
yeah. No, I mean the guy led the scoring the last 2 years. I mean 33%, 33 points as a center, pretty ridiculous stuff. I'm not really gonna get into it too much. I find it. My thing is on Twitter, I have not once slandered any player, I don't believe, or I haven't pushed any agendas. Some people just like to be heard. It's one of those things where I haven't really been active on Twitter. I mean, all year or in general, just because I don't think it's worth it. But uh, it is what it is. I mean, Jokic averaged triple double. He actually didn't. He didn't make that official. But it's just one of those things where I love Jokic. I'm not taking away from Jokic. I hate the idea that you can't like both of them. I
Yeah,
mean, if you give me Jokic or Embiid to start a season or to start a franchise in NBA 2K, I'll be happy with either one. But
yeah.
I don't
I
know
mean, they just
why.
had a better record. If I mean that sounds pretty good to me. I mean, it was only one game better. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I felt like the Joel regular season MVP was warranted. And I didn't really see too many people complain until now. Which, it's not really worth complaining about now because what difference does it make? I mean, it wasn't a postseason award to begin with. So, him shit in the bed yesterday doesn't change what he did in the regular season. So, I don't know. I felt he was deserving at the time. The voters very, very clearly felt he was deserving at the time. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
but
mean, I will
it's
say
hardly worth
this.
defending at this point. The guy, I mean, he choked in Game
No,
Seven.
no, and one of those things where the things can be mutually exclusive. Where I mean, they could be both true and wrong. But yeah, Embiid shit the bed. But this is the one year where I don't think Giannis, Jokic, or
Olenek.
Embiid. If you picked any of those three, I wouldn't be upset about it. I think this is a year where there's three guys that were deserving of it.
Yeah,
I guess my thing is I don't find it necessary to push my agenda every 2 seconds. Where I mean, I'm just kind of I like to watch sports. If Jokic wins, I won't be upset about it. He gets a ring, good for him. He's a fantastic player.
dude.
I
At
just
this point, I'm
think,
kind of cheering for the guy. That
yeah,
dude's fun to watch.
no, yeah. I mean, people. I mean, that's the thing. The only person I think I legitimately hate in the NBA is watching, um, Kelly Oubre take 80 shots. That's the only guy I can really get under my skin. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for a good basketball the rest of the way. It's not really worth taking a stand or fighting with people. It is what it is. People like to be heard. And that's. I think that's all we have
Ryan,
to.
Ryan taking the stand, dude.
No, I'm not even taking a stance. I just don't think it's worth arguing. Is my thing. My stance is that you can make up any narrative you want, and if you want to ride that narrative, that's fine. But I just kind of I like to watch good basketball. If Jokic just goes 8-0 the next 2 series and then wins it all, good for him. He deserves it. Fantastic player. I don't know why you can't like it's the same thing on Twitter. If you see a post about one player, the comments are always shitting on another player and vice versa. I root for both guys. I root for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, Anthony said Harden on his way back to Houston. That sounds great to me. I tweeted earlier today. I hope to never have to watch Harden in a big game and cheer for him. Embiid, I'm not quite there yet. I still think Embiid's back next year. I think we run it back with Maxey and Embiid. Hopefully, dump Harris's contract somehow, some way, and pick up a couple 3-and-D guys to surround them. But we'll see. I think I wouldn't mind shopping around Embiid, kind of kicking tires, see what we could get for him. But I don't really see a very realistic package when I look around the league. It's hard to imagine what kind of package we can get back. I don't know if Darius Garland and picks is something that we can consider. Not to mention if the Cavs would even consider that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. I was looking through the league last night, kind of pondering, wondering if we really did start to throw Embiid's name around the league. Like, what kind of return could we get? And I kept thinking about the Rudy Gobert trade, but also you got to factor in how stupid Minnesota is. So like,
Yeah,
they got such a good package, and I'm sure we'll get a nice package for Joel if he were to be traded, but I'm not sure it would be up to that standard. I think Minnesota was just so dumb in the moment. But I don't know. Anthony Don said Harris and Harden getting out of Philly. No
that's fine
complaints
by
out of
me.
me.
It's one of those things too where, one of those things where I mean Jamal Murray's been good this postseason. Same with Michael Porter Jr. and some other guys. I mean, as good as Harden has been for those 2 games in Boston where he stole it. I mean, the last 2 games, Game 6 and Game 7, he had 22 points compared to 20 turnovers, and it's just one of those things where I think it's tough when guys don't perform to the contract. Name your person, but Tobias Harris is getting paid more than anybody else in the Sixers, and he scored 2. He didn't even take a shot in Game 6. So it's one of those things where I'm okay dumping some high cap salary guys to help build an actual roster. But yeah, I mean, people will always hate, and it is what it is. But I think there's 29 or 28 teams that if we were to trade Embiid to them, wouldn't be too upset about it. So it is what it is. Let's
Yeah.
move on to MLB because I think
yeah, dude.
the reason this got stretched out so long is because I kept reading the chat. But I'm just gonna look away from the chat and let you go MLB picks for today. Actually, yeah, MLB's first. So good.
Baseball time, baby. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this slate. I'm excited to watch some sports that aren't going to break my heart. I guess unless the bets lose, but we'll be all right. Brian, did you want to kick us off, or how many picks do you have tonight?
Dude, I have 1 pick in MLB. I didn't really like the slate
Okay.
because I think I'm trying to experiment with outside of player props, but
Yeah.
it's been a little wonky here and there. But I'm trying to figure it out, and before I start sharing other things, I'm just trying to figure it in house.
Yeah, understood. I'll go ahead and get it started since I have a couple picks for tonight. The first one I want to get out as soon as possible because it's shifted a whole half a run, which I'm a little on the fence about. I think Caesar still has it at -130 if you're lucky enough to be in a Bet365 state. I think it's still -120 there. But the play itself is the Brewers and Cardinals. First 5 innings over 4 runs. Now, if you look at FanDuel and DraftKings, I believe this has shifted to 4.5 runs. Which I would still take for a half unit, but that is obviously a pretty big jump. I like the chance of a push there rather than a loss. But this is probably one of my favorite bets of the night. Jack Flaherty, my goodness, man, this guy is so talented, but he's just been such a mess this season. He's got a 6.18 ERA, 1.73 WHIP, 5.66 FIP. He's been even worse at home with a 9.45 ERA. The guy just cannot throw strikes, which is kind of mind-blowing. He's in the 7th percentile of walk percentage, so he just puts so many guys on base naturally. And then when he does find the zone, he's getting hammered. So 46th percentile in average exit velocity, 40th percentile in hard hit percentage, 12th percentile in barrel percentage. He's got a long history versus the Brewers. Obviously, they're NL Central foes, if you will. So he's faced a lot of these guys a lot of the time. So the Brewers collectively have an average of 250 against him, an on-base percentage of 361, and then they have 7 home runs off of him as a team and 12 extra base hits overall. So obviously he's the main fade here. Jack Flaherty is the main fade. Freddie is a great pitcher. I'm actually a huge fan of Freddie Peralta. I really, really like Freddie Peralta. I'm going to slightly fade him here. He is obviously not the focus of this play, but I do think that the Cardinals can get a few runs off of him in the first 5 innings, whether it be 1 or 2. I'll take any of that because I think the Brewers can kind of really help us get over the hump here. But Freddie, in a very small sample size, mind you, his road ERA is 5.73. This is 2 starts. So, take that for what it's worth. It's not a huge sample size, but it's still worth noting. And the main thing is St. Louis's offense has really been waking up. They averaged 7 runs a game over the weekend. Despite their struggles most of the season, they score 5.11 runs a game at home. So they put Lars Nootbaar in the leadoff position. I'm not sure at what point this actually happened, but since they did it, I mean they've really been scoring a lot. And thanks a lot, Rick. Rick Nush said MGM is over 4 at -115. So, and Bustin' on a Stack said the same thing. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I really would prefer this at over 4, obviously, rather than the 4.5. Although there's some good plus odds at 4.5, which I don't mind. But Yeah, take the 4 if it's an option for you. If it's not an option for you, go with the 4-5 at a half unit. But yeah, probably one of my favorite plays of the night right here. Brewers and Cards over 4 runs in the first 5 innings.
I like that. I gave it a look because Flaherty's one of those guys where, man, what happened? He's looked terrible. I mean, most of the year, he's just
I
looked.
don't know. He's a disaster right now. I'm
It,
all for it. Let's keep it going one more time.
he's not even getting outs at this point. He's just struggling all over the place. Yeah, MGM is minus 115 for the 4. MGM is a weird book.
They're
They really are.
such a weird. That's exactly what a
Yeah.
weird book. I have a couple more MLB plays. We can kind of sandwich your
I
pick
have
if you want.
I have one MLB, one NBA. Do you have any NBA
Okay.
yet?
No, I do not have any NBA.
So you go again. You go 2, I go 1, and back to you. Sleeper picks, and then we go NBA.
Sounds good. So I'm going to stay in the first 5 innings. I'm going to go another over runs. I'm going to go Twins and Dodgers over 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I believe this is minus 122 on FanDuel. Shop this around. I haven't looked in about an hour and a half. But I really like this one. Again, this is mostly focused on one pitcher. But I also think the other offense can, they can tag Pablo Lopez for a few. But the main focus here is Noah Syndergaard. Phillies legend Noah Syndergaard has just been absolutely atrocious this season.
You can't fade Thor, man. Come on.
Yeah, yes, you can. And yes, you can. So he left his last start due to a finger laceration. He then threw a bullpen session this weekend. Everything went fine. He should be a full go, which is great. We want a full go, man. We want him to go all 5 of these innings. His velocity just continues to drop over and over again over the past couple years. He's got a 1-3 record, 6.12 ERA, 1.42 whip. He's the easiest man in the league to steal on, which I think was kind of like the beginning of the downfall of his career when the league realized that. His strand rate is just, he never leaves guys on base because they move themselves into scoring positions so easily, and then one single later they're touching home plate. So that's really what seemed like to be the downfall of his career, is when the league is like, oh, we can steal on this guy like so easily. So yeah, he's just getting mashed. The Twins are coming off, I believe, a 16-run game yesterday, so they should be feeling pretty damn good. Decent weather tonight. It's mid-60s. Wind head towards the outfield. It's not like the most glorious summer night that we'll ever get, but no complaints about the weather. As far as Pablo Lopez is concerned, his K rate is super high this season. He's having a great year. But I think the Dodgers can tag him for 2 runs here. I don't think that's out, that far out of the realm of possibility. His schedule's been pretty damn easy. He's faced Royals, Marlins, White Sox, Yankees, Nats, Royals, and Padres so far. So really the only 2 that stick out to me are Yankees, who haven't even really been that great offensively, and then the Padres, who again haven't really been that great offensively. So this is definitely his biggest test of the season. Dodgers have been really, really good versus right-handed pitching. They're second in the league in WRC plus. Minnesota is 11th in WRC plus versus right-handed pitching. They're both top 9 in slugging. So I like the Dodgers to get 2 off Pablo here, and I think Noah will just continue to be a better stream and give up hopefully his 3 or 4, and then we should easily cash this over 4.5 runs.
I like that you said that about Pablo Lopez, where he's pitching well, his strikeouts are great, but yeah, he can definitely be beaten. Man, you're going first 5 overs, which maybe is where I'm missing from, because everyone in the chat is talking about the New York Mets and how bad they've been. The New York Mets ripped my soul out yesterday because I just needed under 6.5 runs in the first 5, and it was 1-0 going into the 4th, and the Mets scored 8 runs in the 4th. So
the one time they actually produced
the one time they scored more than half a run in an inning in the last 14 games.
Yikes!
You're not gonna like this one. I don't even like the one I have. This is, if you're betting player props or you're betting pitcher props, this is a weird slate. I hate my pick, but I also love it. I am backing a guy that has been so terrible, so annoyingly terrible. AL Cy Young finalist last year, and he can't throw a strike. I am backing Alek Manoah today. I took it. I just checked while you were talking or whatever you were doing. It's still plus 100 on DraftKings and MGM. I took Alek Manoah 4 strikeouts and the Blue Jays to win against the Yankees. And I know it's gross, but Alek Manoah's spin rate, his velocity is a little bit down. But can you tell me this? Alek Manoah only has 3 good starts this year, and one of them is against the Yankees. Have you ever seen his career against the Yankees? I don't know what it is. It's almost like he hates this team ever since he fought with Garrett Cole. I don't know what it is, but in his last what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, he's had 8 career starts against the Yankees. He's
Yeah.
only allowed a run in like half of those, and then only one of them was a bad start. He had one start against the Yankees that was bad. The Yankees really heated up over the weekend, and it's one of those things where I think the Yankees are getting like right, what was it? The Blue Jays are -155, right? I think the Yankees are the Yankees, and they're gonna get a lot of handle. And I think after their hot start this weekend, people are back in the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are in a bullpen game. I mean,
Yeah, I was just about to ask, what's the plan with Jimmy Cordero here?
it's probably gonna be what Kadera for 1 or 2 innings, and then my guess is it's gonna be Brito, right? That's my thinking. Is it'd
And
be
if it is, you might be in luck.
so my thinking is that it's gonna be Kadero for 1 or 2, probably 2 innings, and then Brito, who has a 5.5 ERA this year, really
Yeah.
beatable guy. I just think it's one of those games where if I can get plus money for 4 and a win, as the Yankees heat up offensively, their strikeouts tend to heat up as well over the last 3 year sample size. When they're hitting the ball, they actually are missing the ball a little bit more. And Alek Manoah has not been great. He's weird, but he did face the Yankees early in the year. He went 7 scoreless. I don't know. I don't know if he just does not like this team, but he's always been better at home traditionally. And the Blue Jays are what? I think they're 12-3. I don't have my notebook. I left it downstairs. They're 12-3 at home this year. I'm pretty sure, or 9-3.
I got you.
Yeah. Do you have that? Because
12-3.
usually, yeah, I was right. See, 12-3. So I'm just backing. If you're telling me that both these offenses will be hot today, I will take the Blue Jays at a plus 100. Where yeah, no, someone just commented. Manoah is one of those pitchers that's been really affected by the pitch clock. I
Yeah.
just think he's out of shape. I mean, he's just always been kind of a bigger
He's a
guy,
big dude, man.
but I'm hoping after all this time to adapt, just a little bit better. I just here's my thing. I have the fair odds of this about minus 125 based on other lines, and I just plus 100. I'm gonna live with it. I think Alek Manoah is one of those guys where
He looks stoned all the time.
he does. He doesn't look
He
good. He
might
has
be. I mean,
yeah, but I just think I think the Yankees offense is getting a little too much love over the last weekend. If they score 8 runs, I think people don't realize that I'm okay being beaten if a better team is better. But if it is really an opener plus Brito, I will trust Alek Manoah, who is getting minus 160 for over 17 and a half outs. So they're kind of expecting a better start from him. I think him back at home. Yankees traveled yesterday. I will take this at plus money and live with it.
good deal. Good deal. Yeah. I saw a stat earlier today that Aaron Judge is one of
Yeah.
17 versus Alec with 7 Ks, which is a really interesting trend, man. Or actually, yeah, I looked up. He's one of 19 with 7 strikeouts. That's pretty wild. So hopefully for your sake and your bet that'll continue tonight.
I will say my last thing about this bet is that the downfall of Alek Manoah's career, which has been great up until this season. I mean, 2 seasons he's been fantastic.
He's been so good his career so far.
Yeah, he has been walking and getting crushed by lefties. That's his one thing. The Yankees don't have any lefties. The only lefties they will send out would be there's 2 of them. They only have 2 lefties, and that's Rizzo and maybe Bowers if he's out there. But at 2 lefties for a guy like him, I will back him at home, who's been traditionally good at home.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
it's a spot where it's so gross to look at, but I think it's so valuable in this spot. So I will ride it.
Good deal. Good deal. Somebody asked, we have a few questions. Somebody asked, did I miss the sleeper play? No, you have not. Anthony asked, how do we feel about 7 Ks from Ohtani and an RBI? As far as the matchup against Grayson Rodriguez, I like that. It's a lefty versus righty matchup. Grayson has really nasty stuff, but he gets hit really hard. So if Ohtani makes contact, obviously I like his chances a little bit more to collect an RBI, potentially off a homer, or if the guys ahead of him can get on. 7 strikeouts. I mean, a little less confidence in it tonight versus the Orioles than normal, but I mean, it's still Ohtani. It's hard to ever feel bad about him getting 7 strikeouts. On YouTube, somebody asked about Tanner Hoek getting 7 strikeouts and Syndergaard getting 8 strikeouts. Not a huge fan, especially of Syndergaard to get 8 strikeouts. He's just not a K guy at all anymore. So yeah, I'm not big on Noah. In fact, I'm fading him with one of my plays. So but yeah, I like the Ohtani play. I'm actually curious what the odds are. Probably plus 300 ish, hopefully. Or I feel like we've gotten this question twice, maybe. So maybe it's a boost somewhere. But yeah, I like that play. I think it's a pretty solid look. Syndergaard to get strikeouts is not really something I'm looking at too much. Somebody asked, are we gonna post our plays? We will always oh yeah, it's 4.5. That's not bad. We'll always recap our plays. I mean, in fact, we can run through that real quick since you hopped on. We appreciate you guys watching. I did Twins and Dodgers over 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I also did Brewers and Cardinals over 4 runs in the first 5 innings. Brian just did Alek Manoah, 4 strikeouts, and a Toronto Blue Jays win at plus 100. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next pick unless you had anything else to add, Brian.
No, that's all I wanted to say. All I'm going to say to add on or to close it out is that I said in the chat, I just think no one likes to bet against the Yankees. I get it, but you're getting Manoah, who has a great history against an opener, plus Brito. And I just feel like it's minus 150 on the money line if I can get a plus money with the strikeouts. I'm okay being the guy that gets made fun of if the Yankees win because just no one bets against the Yankees. And I feel like their value is always kind of skewed.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, it's funny. Claudius asked about the 50% profit boost. I'm kind of sad. I put in every single one of my plays before I realized that we had that. So I actually I have not used that to this point. I think Twins and Dodgers over 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings is the play I would have used it on. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll move on to my next play. I'm going to go Drew Rucinski, 4+ hits allowed. This is a same game parlay on DraftKings. I believe this to be a DraftKings special, maybe Bet365 you can do this, but I'm not 100% sure. I believe this to be a DraftKings special. Drew Rucinski to allow 4 or more hits and the Diamondbacks to score 4.5 runs or more, or I guess over 4.5 runs would be the best way to say that. It's minus 125 on DraftKings. The Diamondbacks team total is set at 5.5. I'm always a little skeptical to grab that, although against the A's it is quite warranted. I think this is a nice pivot to go and get their 4.5 team total plus Rucinski to give up 4 hits. It's obviously pretty correlated. The more Drew gets hit, the more potential the Diamondbacks have to score runs. Now we actually have a fairly small sample size on this poor guy, Drew. He only has 68.1 career innings. I believe he went over to Asia, potentially Japan, to pitch for several years. He's 34 years old. He's barely pitched in the majors, but this man has gotten absolutely slaughtered. I think, this year he has an 8.16 ERA, a 2.09 WHIP, a 7.28 FIP. His career ERA is 5.93. He's allowed 84 hits in 68 innings in his career. So that's pretty freaking crazy. So I like the chances that they can get 4 hits off them. Arizona is a really solid offense. They have the second best batting average versus right-handed pitching. Who is the first best batting average versus right-handed pitching, Brian?
Is it? It's not cat. Wait, we're talking about just AL or all league?
Whole league. Best average versus right-handed pitching.
It's not Casty. So who is it? Because I can't.
What team?
Oh, what team? Oh, okay. It's the Nationals. They were for a while, and then now is it? I'm all fucked up.
Phillies.
Phillies. Okay.
Phillies. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by that, but we do have a lot of lefties, so
it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't feel that way watching them often, but yes. Anyway, Arizona's they're solid versus right-handers, second best batting average versus right-handers. So I like the chances that they can collect 4 hits before they knock this guy out of the game. They're 4th in OPS. This team averages the 6th most runs per game in the MLB at 5.1, and they don't see much drop off on the road at 5.06 runs per game. So. And after Drew leaves the game, hopefully he'd already given up his 4 hits. And then the A's will bring in several guys who collectively have a 7.01 bullpen ERA, which is just absolutely unfathomable. So I think if we can get these hits out of the way early, then we should be kind of chilling, just kind of wait for the Diamondbacks to rack up some runs. So that's what I'll be cheering for here. So Drew Rucinski, 4+ hits allowed, and the Diamondbacks over 4.5 runs. Team total -125 on DraftKings.
Someone mentioned the Diamondbacks, 5 strikeouts and a D-backs win as one of the boosted plays. I did see a lot of like for that. I did like that a lot.
Not a bad look at all. Merrill Kelly, I for some reason I've always struggled to trust him. But there's no reason to struggle to trust him this year. He's just been really good. I think he's been really good on the road. I don't have his numbers up in front of me, but and one of the bigger things is he's become a strikeout per inning guy, which he's never really been before. And maybe he doesn't quite finish the season quite to that extent, but he's averaging just over 1 strikeout per inning, which is not something he's known for. So against the A's, that is definitely a solid look, something that you could use your boost on. Earlier, before I got started on that, somebody asked about Brogdon starting for the Phillies. That's just going to be an opener situation for them. We're going to bring in I'm brain farting, Brian. Who are we bringing in after Brogdon?
Did we announce? I did not see the announcement yet.
Sorry, guys. I'm brain farting. I know who it is. I just can't think of it because it was whoever was listed as the starter today. Bailey Falter.
Oh yeah, Falter's gonna be because we're gonna phase Falter out eventually, which is weird.
Yeah, not Strom, man. I wish it was Strom. I like Strom a lot more than Falter, but Strom, he seemed to wear down as the more innings or as the innings went on. So his velocity started to go down, but man, his K numbers were super interesting to see. I didn't know he had all that, dude. He blew my mind in some of those starts. I think he had an 11 strikeout start in 5 innings or something like that. So I didn't really realize Matt Strom was like that, to be honest with you, coming from Boston. So I wouldn't mind seeing him get another chance, but I'm just not sure his arm's built for it. He's in his 30s. I think he's been a reliever a lot of his career. So perhaps he's just not quite built for that kind of role. And unfortunately, Bailey Falter is. I have one more play for baseball. What's up?
So you have one more play, right?
Yeah, one more baseball play, and then we could pass off to NBA for tomorrow, which I don't have a play for that, by the way. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Well, I have the sleeper pick too, so I'll go ahead and rattle off my last play, and then we'll talk about the sleeper pick real quick to end baseball, and then we can move on to tomorrow's NBA slate. I'm going to do Hunter Green under 17.5 outs. This is another one that moved on me. This is kind of the bad part of doing a later show. But I believe it's -130 on MGM. If you're one of the 4 people watching that has Bet365, that's where you're going to find the best odds, I believe. DraftKings had moved us to -150, which is unplayable in my eyes. If you're okay with that, I'm cool with that. But yeah, you're going to hopefully you can get this on MGM at -130. Also check Caesars. They sometimes have some competitive odds as well. But at Coors, I just think this is a pretty tall task for Hunter. This isn't really something he's known to do. He's only gotten 6 innings or more in 2 of 8 starts this season, dating back to the beginning of last year. He's only hit over this in 34% of his starts, and now he's got to go to Coors, where that slider won't break quite as much, and the ball will fly a little bit. So I don't really like backing the Rockies offense by any means. CJ Cron went on the IL today, sorry. Which I guess is slightly frightening, but not enough to scare me away. This team kind of stinks, but they play at Coors, so they have the benefit of that. They still average 4.84 runs a game at home, which is pretty damn good. His one career start at Coors, this is the beginning of last year, which I believe is his rookie year. So, take this for what it's worth, but it is worth noting, in my opinion. He went 4.1 innings. He allowed 6 hits and 4 walks. His K rate drops and the ISO numbers and average go way up versus right-handed batters, which you'll see 5 of them tonight. He's a guy that's susceptible to long balls and walks, both of which will, in theory, come more frequently in the high altitude of Coors Field. So while I don't love putting too much faith in Colorado that often, I think they could chase him out before he finishes the 6th inning.
Yeah, I like that.
We got -120 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. Yeah, Hunter Green's nice. Guy where, people love strikeouts, but some guys can strike out 12 people, but also allow 12 runs in the process. And he's one of those guys where he gets hit real hard. So
yeah, and if he does rack up the strikeouts, that just means more pitches, to those at bats too. So high strikeout guys oftentimes rack up a lot of pitches quickly because striking out a guy takes at least 3 pitches, and most times it's going to be 4 or 5 or 6.
I'm all for it, but everyone's asking what the sleeper play is from Ryan Props.
Yep, I got that coming. I'll I'll rattle that off right now. So excited to announce we have a new partner, which is Sleeper Picks. I'm really excited to partner with them. I'm a big fan of their product and have been for a while now. So I have a parlay. I did 3 legs personally. But if you are not on Sleeper, you can use promo code GoldBoys to get up to $100 on your first deposit. I'm sorry, a deposit match up to $100. If you like me more than Brian, you could use code Ryan Props. I had to squeeze that in there.
That's okay. I'm okay with it.
But yeah. So yeah, Claudia said he's going to download Sleeper and deposit today. There's a long list of states that it's available in. There's also a long list of states that it's not available in. I believe they kind of went to attack the states that legalized gambling wasn't a thing. And they targeted those states more, and then hopefully they'll branch out into more states. Beyond that, without further ado, my play. I went George Kirby under 1.5 walks. I have pretty short analysis on each one of these picks because I knew I had a lot to talk about today. But the man's got 3 walks in 44.2 innings this year. So he's just one of the elite control guys in our game. So I don't really see him walking 2 batters tonight, although he does have a tougher matchup. I also did Sal Perez over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. This man is heating up. My goodness gracious. He's got a 378 average with 6 home runs over the last 15 days. Versus Michael Wacha, he's 5 of 16 with a home run. So nice spot for him. Then Yordan Alvarez, he is also heating up. He's got a 319 average, 3 homers, 4 doubles. In the last 15 days, he's hit this over in 8 of his last 10. And he's going against a pitcher that gets crushed by lefties. So you put that all together, it's if you bet 50, you'll win 208. So 1 unit will win you back a little over 3 units. So yeah, that would be my my sleeper pick of the day.
Yeah, Sleeper is not in PA, so I'm one of those people that has to watch and kind of be a little sad about it, but it's okay. We'll live. And that's all right. I hope it hits for you and for you only. But yeah, that's a good look there. And then NBA, I guess we can talk a little bit, but I do have one NBA play I put in. That's I guess I feel like I don't even know who I'm rooting for at this point. I'm just hoping for some good games. And the only play I took in the NBA slate tomorrow, one game, it is game 1 of the Nuggets and Lakers. And I actually don't think I've ever bet an over for this player, but I did. Let me just pull it up. I took Anthony Davis over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Nice.
This has to be the only time I've ever backed it over for Davis. And I don't even hate Anthony Davis. I just always tend to seem to fade him over backing him just because I think I've won twice on his unders solely this year on injury. And then I won a few others on, just underperforming. But Anthony Davis, this very well should be his series in theory. In games this year where he's played 30 or more minutes, he has averaged 42 points / rebounds / assists. This year against the Nuggets, he's played 3 games against the Nuggets in the regular season. He had 41, 40, and 16 PRA. The game where he had 16, he only played 17 minutes, so almost a stat a minute. Not that it really matters, but he does average more PRA on the road than at home. And dude, I mean this is honestly a play where he gets the rest. He gets 4 days rest, 3 days rest. And he's a guy that benefits so much from rest. In game 1 against the Warriors, what do you have? 30 points, 20 rebounds, and
he went insane.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if I get arrested Anthony Davis, the Nuggets allow I think the 8th most points in the paint in the regular season, and overall they can be beat in the paint. And all love but all hate to DeAndre Ayton. Last series he shit the bed. And I think the fact that he underperformed so much kind of opens the door for Anthony Davis, where this line, 37.5 feels a little low. I feel like it should be 39.5. I think all things considered, 39.5 seems like a fair line. He's averaging 38 in the playoffs, but this should definitely be I don't want to say smash spot. It should be a smash spot, though. There's history that backs his rebounding against Jokic and this and that, but I do think I would hate to leave out rebounds in this case and have him go off for like 20 plus rebounds because he has the potential every single time. He's more aggressive on the offensive glass, and he should have a field day in the paint. So I do like this pick. I locked it in early today.
Nice. Yeah, I like that look a lot. I mean, that 22.5 point line has been staring me in the eyes for a while. So something
Yeah,
I've heavily considered myself. So definitely like that look a
I
lot.
was really torn between PA points or PRA, and PRA seems weird because rebounding can be iffy, but if he were to have like a 16 point, I mean like a 16 plus rebounding game, I would just shoot myself in the face knowing that I missed out on adding the R, and he's a guy that can really explode. The only thing with him is whether or not he's taking 9 shots or 20 plus, and I'm hoping it's going to be more in that 20 range.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, I like that one. I'm curious of your thoughts as far as Jokic prop. So last night his point prop was set at 28.5. It's now 27.5. So I thought it was really interesting that it moved down a point rather than up. But like a lot of the time, the Suns left poor DeAndre Ayton on an island by himself to cover him one-on-one. I'm so curious to see how they choose to cover Jokic. Are they going to aggressively double him? They trust AD to try to neutralize him solo. Um, and that way they don't leave open shooters for him to find. So super excited to see how they choose to cover him. And I really want to take a stand on his points prop, but I just don't know which side to stand on. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um
what are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I actually have it written down too where Jokic props is one of those things where in his matchups this year with the Lakers or like overall, his stats with no help are really good, but when they double him in either the high post, baseline, or box, significantly kind of decrease. So it's one of those things where I think the Lakers will try to match up 1-on-1 with Anthony Davis, but they will probably bring weak side help most of the time, especially in that baseline or high post. So it's one of those things where 20.5 is interesting to take the under, but 27.5 is a whole different story. Jokic is phenomenal, but I do think the Lakers will handle it where Monty Williams is like almost set in his ways where he really does not believe in bringing doubles. He's really good at many things, but he saw it in the finals where they blew the 2-0 lead. He is basically set in stone that he likes these one-on-one matchups, but sometimes Jokic, Giannis, other, those caliber of players, even you saw with the Celtics, the Celtics didn't even be one-on-one like any possession. So I do think Monty Williams was like kind of a slave to his own thinking that he has to match up one on one. DeAndre Ayton's not going to stop Jokic one on one. Anthony Davis has a better chance, but I think they can't go into the series with just single coverages. It won't work.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So yeah, I that's probably, I mean, it's Jokic, so it's obviously a very intriguing part of the series, but I think that's the thing I'm most excited about tomorrow to see how they choose to cover him. I think they have to throw a bunch of different looks at him. I'm not sure just letting him abuse whoever you're trying to cover with
Yeah.
one-on-one is the mode, is the way to go here. So obviously AD's defense is quite superior to DeAndre Ayton's, and I'm sure he'll block a couple shots here and there, but
Yeah.
it's just so good you cannot cover this man one-on-one. So
So
really
I will.
intrigued to see how they try to.
Yeah, I was gonna say too is
Yeah.
in this league that favors offense, you give some of these elite big men in the league. I'll throw Anthony Davis in there, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, like these big guys. If you give them one-on-one matchups the entire game and you don't mix it up, I think anyone's gonna put up big numbers on you. If you confuse them, doubles, traps, you know, kind of the drop coverage that you kind of run, you have to figure it out. You can't just let guys go one-on-one, which credit to the Celtics. Celtics did a great job. They were throwing a lot of bodies. The one thing with the Nuggets is that I trust Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray to kind of be more of a threat than the uh, the PJ Tuckers, the Georgian Yangs of the world. So we'll see how they run this defense. But you can't just let Jokic back down whoever's he is 1-on-1. So I do expect his assist to be kind of an interesting look.
Yeah.
But that's
As
all I have. Do we have so Tone? You can come in here. Do we have a pick it popular play with no NBA? Is there still one we have set up? I'm not sure if we
All
have.
right. um, we have we do have a pick it popular plays segment if you'd like to do it.
Yeah, perfect. So I think there is a boost for Otani, but I also know that gambling Twitter, I've seen a lot of things. If you can get his strikeout to 6.5 or some kind of thing with 5.5, and parlay it with something else. So on Pickett, the most bet player is Shohei Ohtani, but the
Yep.
most bet prop is his 6+. So I think this is just me when it comes to strikeout props. For a guy that only goes 6 innings, I do understand the Pickett community being more comfortable with a pairing of 6+ rather than the 7+ or 6.5 over,
Yeah.
because he doesn't really go deep in the games. I mean, for good reasons. You're not gonna really see him go full 8 or 9 unless he's or 7 unless he's completely efficient. So I do like a tiny great matchup. Baltimore is a weird team. I think they have a 21.5% strikeout rate against righties, but they definitely have guys that are vulnerable to the strikeout, and I just think it's hard to be on the right side of them. But a guy like Otani is such a power arm that I can see why he's the most bet player.
Yeah, no question about it. It makes perfect sense. That would probably have been my guess had I not looked first. Seems like a pretty obvious number one guy. Number two is actually moving on to tomorrow. Which a guy we just discussed quite a bit is Nikola Jokic. And his assists are the number one bet prop. So super interesting stuff. Again, I'm super excited to see how they choose to cover him tomorrow. And my initial kind of thought is assist is going to be a really strong look throughout this series. So I'll debate it. Obviously, we have a little time. We got 26 hours or something before this game tips off. So I'm going to debate that a little bit, but I do have a lean on Jokic assists. So definitely seeing
and they know that because his assist is 9.5 juice to the over -125 best odds on DraftKings. Shout out Pickett Sports, I just checked that. But yeah, that's the one thing where you almost wish the books weren't smart, because 9.5 is a great line, but it is kind of tough to back the juice for a game one, because I usually don't like to bet a whole lot of volume or a whole lot in game ones, because as you mentioned, uh, playoff basketball is a lot different than regular season basketball, and you don't necessarily know how teams are going to run their coverages, so it's tougher to lay a lot of juice or a lot of volume on game ones. But I do understand the appeal there.
Yeah, for sure. Last is my man Hunter Green, who I'm actually fading today. I long considered his strikeout set at 5.5. It was very playable earlier today. I'm actually not sure what the odds are currently, but it was somewhere around -130 a good portion of the day at 5.5, which is a number you're just not going to see very often. So while I was very tempted, I decided that I like the under outs look more than his over strikeouts. But I mean, definitely understand the appeal. He's now, at least on DraftKings, he's +140 for over 6.5. Tempting. I mean, Colorado, not the greatest offense. Just those pitching conditions are just difficult. I was reading the MLB chat and Gold Boys, I don't remember who said it, but betting a strikeout prop at Coors, like playing Russian roulette, it's so tough. Sometimes you do leave some good value on the board. I mean, like I said, you don't really ever see Hunter Green at 5.5, and
no.
I can't remember who. Oh, it was Freddie Peralta actually earlier this year. He had a 5.5 line, and I thought about it all day. Ended up fading it, or I guess just leaving it alone, not playing it. And he ended up with 9 strikeouts. I was kicking myself all night. But I definitely understand the appeal. I think
Hunter
I like
Green
the under outs more.
Hunter Green gets benefited, same as you said, Freddie Peralta. Guys that can just beat you straight up by throwing gas definitely get benefited in Coors, in terms of not needing those high break pitches to get them swings and misses. So that's one thing that's going for him, but he can easily get into trouble early.
Yeah. There was one question earlier that I didn't want to gloss over. Straight, but you have a Q instead of an A. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but straight. What he said? What's your confidence level of your sleeper play 1 through 10? I mean, I'm always going to give you 10 confidence plays for sure. At the end of the day, it is a parlay, so anything can happen. I think it's going to hit. Hence why I gave it out for sure. But obviously not gonna. It's not a lock, I guess. But yes, I'm confident in the play. I mean, I dove around for those props. I mean, there's a ton of options on sleepers. So I mean, those are definitely 3 of the ones that stuck out to me dramatically. And had Yordan Alvarez's odds lasted long enough, he would have been a straight play for me. He was -135 for that prop on like DraftKings when I woke up, and I slept on it for a minute, and then it dropped to -145, and I kind of just voted to leave it alone. But yes, 3 props I researched heavily and am quite confident in overall.
Perfect. To close out, Do you want to just kind of go over what plays you have?
Yeah, sure, man. All right, Twins Dodgers first 5 innings, I have over 4.5 runs. Brewers Cardinals first 5 innings, I have over 4 runs. Drew Rucinski 4+ hits plus Diamondbacks over 4.5 team total. That's a DraftKings same game parlay. Then I have Hunter Green under 17.5 outs. And then I capped it off with a sleeper play, which included George Kirby under 1.5 walks, Sal Perez and Yordan Alvarez both over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBI. All you.
Perfect. I only have 2 plays today. Regrettably, I'm backing Alek Manoah 4 strikeouts and a win at plus money at DraftKings or even money, and then I took Anthony Davis over 37.5 points, rebounds, slash assists tomorrow in Game 1. And fun fact, if you want to sprinkle it, Elijah was it Kirk for the little short guy Kirk for the Blue Jays. I am gonna put 0.1 unit. Yeah, Alejandro Kirk. I'm gonna take him for a home run for fun for $10. It's like plus 1,300 on Caesars. I kind of like his matchup there. That's the only thing I have, and that's more of just a fun thing I didn't really mention.
Good deal.
But I think it's gonna be a good day. I think it's gonna be nice to kind of reset. I only have 1 pick today, but then tomorrow I'll be attacking the board.
Oh yeah, man. Sounds good. I think we'll go ahead and cap it there. We, as always, appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate Pickett and now our new partner Sleeper Picks as well. So happy Monday to everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at this time next week.